Hi, welcome to my video on defining inverses. This is the first video in my new unit on inverses of functions. Inverse, according to the dictionary, means directly opposite. An inverse is the reverse of the order that we're going to, or say the order of operations. State the opposite or the inverse of each. Adding 8, we subtract 8. Subtract 10, opposite is add 10. Multiply by 2, the opposite is divide by 2. Divide by -6, multiply by -6. The square root of 9, the opposite is 9 squared. 7 squared, the opposite or the inverse is the square root of 7. State the opposite or the inverse of each. This time we have x's in these expressions. So the opposite or the inverse of x plus 7 is, what would you do to make this back to an x? It would be x subtract 7. And x subtract 2, the opposite or the inverse would be x plus 2. And the inverse of 2x, 2 times x, is x divided by 2. And the opposite or the inverse of x divided by 6 is 6 times x. Division is a multiplication, multiplication, division. Now here we want to get the opposite or the inverse of 3x plus 4. So if I wanted to solve this for x, I would subtract 4 from x and then divide by 3. So the opposite is subtract, divide. And in this one, very similar to this expression here, e and f, but here you got 3 times x plus 4. So the opposite is you're trying to solve this for x. So you say that's x, so you would divide by 3 and then subtract 4. So the inverse of multiplying is the division, the inverse of adding 4, subtracting 4. G, we want to again solve for the x, so because it's in the bracket we would have to do the square root. The opposite of a square is a square root, and the opposite of subtract 8 is plus 8. So that's the inverse. Square root of x plus 8. And here, very similar, g and h are very similar, only x is by itself. So right here it would be the x plus 8, and then we do the square root. So note the difference. We got to do the square root here first and then add. And right here we got to add and then do the square root. So it's a slight difference. And you'll get used to that as we find inverses of functions. The inverse of a relation is the reflection in the line y equals x. The order of operations, the ordered pairs are interchanged. The coordinates of x and y are yx when inverted. So let's do some examples. The ordered pairs are interchanged, and it's a reflection in the line y equals x. Notice y is x, x is y. So x is y, y is x. So if we have an ordered pair of 1, 4, its inverse is 4, 1. X is y, y is x. And right here, -3, -2, -2, -3. So you can see that the x becomes the y and the y becomes the x. Now we have this point right here, which is, this point right here is x is 2, y is 1. And we're going to reflect it in the line y equals x. So y equals x is 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 0, 0, -1, -1, -2, -2. So y equals x, there's the line. So when we reflect this line, reflect this point, 2, 1, it becomes, 2, negative 1. X is 2, y is negative 1. The inverse is negative 1. X is negative 1, y is 2. X is negative 1, y is 2. So it becomes x is negative 1, y is 2. Negative 1, 2 is right there. And what I'm going to do too on the graph is use the red as its inverse. So I'll use the red from now on as its inverse. So we got a table of values. So the x's become the y's become the x's. So the x's are 1, 2, 3. So the y is 1, 2, 3. So the y's are 3, 4, 5. So the x is 3, 4, 5. So notice the ordered pairs 1, 3 is 3, 1. 2, 4 is 4, 2. 3, 5 is 5, 3. Now we have a segment. And so this ordered pair right here, x is 0, y is 2. Oh, I better use the black for that. Sorry. Let's use the black and mark. And this ordered pair here, x is 1, y is 0. And this ordered pair, x is 2, y is negative 2. So let's look at the inverses. So the inverse of 0, 2 is 2, 0. X is 2, 0 right here. The inverse of 1, 0 is 0, 1. X is 0, y is 1. And the inverse of 2, negative 2 is negative 2, 2. X is negative 2, y is 2. So if we draw that segment, join them up there, right here, there it is. So this segment is reflected in the line y equals x, and these are the ordered pairs. So again, this is 2, 0. This one right here is 0, 1, and this one right here is negative 2, 2. So the ordered pairs are reversed. X becomes y and y becomes x. And now we have another one. We have, looks like a V shape, like part of an absolute value. So this one, x is 4, y is 1. Right here, x is 3, y is 0. X is 2, y is negative 1. This one, x is 1, y is 0. And right here, this one, x is 0, y is 1. So let's take all those ordered pairs and do their inverse. So 4, 1 becomes 1, 4. There it is. And this one is 3, 0 becomes 0, 3. 0, 3 right here. 2, negative 1 becomes negative 1, 2. Negative 1, 2 right here. And 1, 0 becomes 0, 1. 0, 1 is right here. And 0, 1 becomes 1, 0. X is 1, y is 0. So the inverse of this relation here is, so the graph is this. So you can see it's reflected in the line y equals x. So the ordered pairs are switched. X becomes y and y becomes x. So I just take my time in explaining this because it can be a little bit confusing if you don't approach it the right way. Graph the inverse of each on the same axis and indicate the line y equals x. So before we start, let's do the line y equals x. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So I'm going to draw the line as a dotted line, not being a part of the graph. This is the line y equals x. And I'll do that for each one. 2, 2, 3, 3, and I'll draw this line y equals x, so we have that done. And that line, this is the line y equals x, and this is the line y equals x, and we'll do that here. X is 1, y is 1, x is 2, y is 2, x is 3, y is 3, and so I'll draw the line y equals x, and again I'm just doing that so I won't forget it, and we'll have it done because it's each of these graphs are reflected in the line y equals x. Now, if you take this line and take the ordered pairs, so this ordered pair right here is 2, 4. This one here is 1, 2. This one here is 0, 0. And this one here is -1, -2. So I'm going to do his inverse in red. So the inverse of 2, 4 is 4, 2. X is 4, y is 2. And 1, 2 is 2, 1. 2, 1. 0, 0 is 0, 0. And -1, -2 is -2, -1. -2, -1. So we'll draw that line to represent his inverse. And we'll draw it using a red, so here we go. Line them up. So the red is the inverse. This is the one we started with, and this is the inverse reflected. So notice the point is 2, 4. This point here is 4, 2. This point is 1, 2. This point is 2, 1. 0, 0, 0, 0. And this point here is -2, -1. Okay, let's do another one. Again, I did different shapes this time, just to show you. Now, this point here is x is -3, y is 2, x is -2, y is 2, x is -1, y is 3, and right here, x is 1, y is 0. So let's have a look at its inverse, and we just flip the ordered pairs around. So this is 2, -3, 2, -3, approximate right here, and this one is 2, -2. So 2, -2 is right here, and this one is 3, -1. So we have 3, -1 is right here, and this one is 1, 0 is 0, 1. So we'll draw that shape, but it's reflected. So we go from dot to dot. Oops. And again, I'm just illustrating just the points going from point to point indicates the inverse. So this one here, this is -3, 2. This is 2, -3. And this one here is -2, 2 is 2, -2. So this point here is 2, -2. And this is -1, 3. This is 3, -1. And this point here is 1, 0 is x is 0, y is 1. So again, this graph right here is reflected in the line y equals x. So the ordered pairs, x becomes y and y becomes x. And the last one in this video is the parabola. This parabola is being reflected in the line y equals x. So I'll use the black. So this point right here is -2, 2. This point here is x is -1, y is -1. This point here is x is 0, y is -2. This point here, x is 1, y is -1. And this point here, x is 2, y is 2. So we'll do the inverse of this, and we should come up with a parabola, the inverse of this parabola, reflected in the line y equals x. So -2, 2 becomes 2, -2. Becomes 2, -2, right there. And -1, -1 becomes -1, -1. Same point. And 0, -2 becomes -2, 0. And 1, -1 becomes -1, 1. X is -1, y is 1. And 2, 2 becomes 2, 2. So the parabola is this, and try to get this one to look like a parabola. So the inverse of this parabola is this one right here in red. The inverse is in red. So notice in inverses, the ordered pairs are interchanged. The x becomes a y and the y becomes the x. And the red is the inverse. So I switched the ordered pairs and drew the graph. So notice again, you'll see the parabola and the line quite often. So these are inverses of each other. And again, you change the y to an x and x to a y. It's a reflection in the line y equals x. That brings us to the end of this video. Just a simple introduction to the idea of an inverse. If you like my video, click on the like button. If you're not a subscriber, click on the subscribe button. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Just all one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.